Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome, welcome, welcome to the weekly
What
roundup.
up?
Welcome.
Hey,
Hey, everybody. Hey. What happened to you, Levi?
Levi.
What happened? What happened
He
to our
acting
brother? He
crazy.
just
Did you
Yes, he
disappeared,
is. Where did you go?
man. Are you good, Levi? What happened?
did
What
you
happened,
hear me?
man?
He said, I'm like, did you hear him?
Just cause you said we won't have no takes, I just screamed out something crazy.
What'd you say? I didn't hear what you said.
I just went
Crazy
No,
stuff.
we've been
All right,
having
come
a
on.
good time with each other. This is just us acting crazy.
Yes.
This is going
Yeah.
right into the video. I'm not doing takes today. Welcome
today.
again, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the weekly roundup. Glad to have you guys with us. How are you guys doing, Tamara, Rissa, Levi? What's going on with y'all? How was your day? Go ahead.
Oh,
Tam.
my day was wonderful.
Oh yeah, Rissa? What'd you do
Yes.
today?
I got to spend some real quality time with my mom today. Her birthday was a while ago, and we kept having to reschedule the things that I told her that I promised her we would do. So we finally got to do them today.
Oh yeah.
So it was good. It was it was really good, and I don't get a lot of time to spend with her, so it was
Nice.
great.
Oh, that's sweet. No, that's
What did y'all do?
Well, I paid to get her feet done today, and then we just went to eat and we talked, and it was good.
Oh, so you were showing out. That's what you was doing.
No,
You trying to
I
get brownie
wasn't.
points.
No, I just wanted to bless my mama. That's all.
That's good.
And it was a one-on-one thing, right? It was just y'all two.
Just me and her.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so sweet.
Yes.
That's so sweet.
That's good.
Marissa, are you the favorite child?
No, I'm not. Let my sisters tell it. I'm my dad. I was my dad's favorite, but I don't know about that. But no.
That's cool.
It really was.
Tamara?
My day was pretty productive. I went to one of my little brother's surprise birthday parties, which was good, seeing the family and everybody. I had a good time there. Then did some little errands beforehand, but that's it. No, but it was good. I was happy to see the family, you know what I mean? So it was good.
That's good.
You don't sound happy.
Nigga, what? Yes.
Looking all down and stuff.
Because I was thinking about what else I did today. Like I was trying to think. Dang, you always busted somebody out. I was happy. Dang.
What about you, Levi? How what you got going on today?
I really didn't do much. I worked on church live stream today. I did work with a client, and that was really it. And then came back home and watched Logan. He's still over there asleep, so hopefully he don't wake up. But that's it.
Yeah. I ain't do nothing today, y'all.
We know.
We had an issue. Full disclosure, we recorded an episode for y'all yesterday, and it just
somebody messed it up.
Yeah, no, don't say it just
somebody
you.
Right.
I had nothing to do with it. Okay.
Oh, you had everything to do with it.
I recorded it, and it just didn't come out like it was supposed to.
Just like the squares last time, where we went 4 squares like this, they were showing our individual faces. It
still came out nice. Okay, that's all that matters. So,
sure.
But yeah, I was waiting for it, trying to think or figure out if it was going to work, and I was thinking it was probably downloading or taking a while to download because it does that sometimes. Tamara.
I really know that was a real yawn. That was a real yawn.
Ooh, we goofy today, y'all.
We acting up. But yeah, so hopefully, if all goes well, you guys will get a nice video this week and not just skipped over. But anyway, we had a good conversation on the last episode. We were talking about relationships, and we were talking about, you know, the different aspects of it and everything, initial encounters and all that stuff. You know, we had a couple incidents where we were, you know, me and Levi were named bad guys or whatever, and Levi and Marissa were deemed to be married. They're not. You know,
Right.
You know,
Like, we're married, but not to each other.
right. They're married, but they're not married to each other. They have, Marissa has her husband and Levi has his wife, separately from this chat, but we're all best friends. And so we just wanted to get that squared away. But it was a good conversation.
And also, while we're getting things squared away,
Talk about it.
guys, you know, when you see a video, like, look at the video in its entirety.
Yeah.
And then comments. So then
Yeah.
you can get the real story that each person is saying. Because we had some comments that they just weren't relative to what we were talking about. Some things were construed. So, you know, I make sure, like, I try to make sure, like, when I watch my YouTube videos, you know, I look through the whole video, then formulate my opinion, then I comment, because I want to get everyone what they're saying. So I'm just a little advice, you know, just look at the whole video, then comment.
Yeah. Thank you, Tamara. That's definitely necessary. Well, it's helpful, you know, it's real, you know. We were giving our experiences, individual experiences. I mean, I've never had an interracial relationship. I'm sorry, I couldn't get that out. But so I could only base off my certain things off of, and I should have made it be I shouldn't say almost all or a lot of. I should use words like some instances or like that, right? So I should have been more lenient with that. But I can only speak on experiences that we've had. You know, me, Levi, we've only had those experiences. So we'll leave it at that. And Levi's married to a Black woman, so it's not like you know.
I've only dated. I won't go there.
Think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I've only dated one white woman in my life, like, or outside of it being Black. You know what I mean? That I don't count that because that was like 6th grade. Yeah. So, you know, outside of that, that's it. You know?
And we don't want y'all to think that we have issue with Black women at all. That's not
just
or that you won't date Black women.
Right. All we're saying is in our experiences, you know, me and Terrence, of course, can have not dated the whole Black woman race, of course. Just in our experiences, in our initial encounters is what we're saying. Not going deep into the relationship, not taking you out on a date, talking to you late night on the phone, just initial contact. That's it.
In some instances, so we're gonna leave it at that. And somebody still might take issue with it. We can't. I mean, what can we do?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. We want to hear y'all's opinion, you know. But
absolutely,
just, you know.
Yeah, so we're just gonna go a little bit deeper into relationships and talk about some good things here. One of the questions I had for the group here is, what are some common relationship misconceptions that you have dealt with in your particular, when you're going out and dealing with, you know, your particular relationship beforehand and now for Marissa and Levi, now that you're married? What are some things that those misconceptions about relationships, like, what are some things that you feel were misconceived for yourself? Go ahead, Tamara.
No, what?
Yeah. Okay, Rissa, you go ahead. Go ahead, Rissa.
I would have to say, okay,
what's something that you were looking for?
Okay, so you want like what I was looking for. Or the like.
I'll go real quick. Mine's gonna be real
short. Wait, the first time then when he called.
Well, because he always called on me first. But anyway, I'll go. So one of the things that I can honestly say is that, okay, so you guys, well, if this is your first time viewing, we're all saved, so we have a heavy church background. So my last relationship that I was in, that I recently just got out of, but we were together for a while. I perceived him to be one way because that's what I thought that he should have been in my mind because of the, the church background and what I grew up seeing. I wanted, in my mind, I wanted him to be that way. Mm-hmm. And of course, people are their own individual people. They have their own thoughts and actions and things of that nature. So that was a downfall that I took on the relationship, if I could say it that way. Right. So that was one of the things that I wish that I could have been more mature about. Right. But as the relationship progressed, I didn't see it that way. Like I took him for who he was, and it was great. Like we're still like great friends till this day. But so that was one of the things, Terrence, to answer your question, that I took, I guess, for granted. Or that's what you want to know, right? Like what?
Well, let me make him a little bit more specific and give like a actual like misconception that some people have. So like I was reading up somewhere, they say that cohabitation leads to better or worse marriage outcomes. So that's a misconception, right? On either side. How do you guys feel? Do you feel that either way that it's needed, or do you feel that you don't need it to be able to build a good relationship? Or to build that relationship before you get together. I mean, before you have your cohabitation.
I think, like in our case, I mean, our opinion is going to be a little bit more skewed because we are Christian. Of course, we don't believe in, or we don't believe in, living together before marriage, basically.
Right, but if you don't believe that, there's still a possibility that you could feel that it might.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say that. Right. I was going to say, if in my personal opinion, I wish that you could live with a person before you get married, because you know more. I mean, you just know more information. The more you know, the more comfortable you feel. That's just a human interaction. Human feeling. So I feel like, if you could live with the person first, I think it could be definitely positive. Even if the relationship didn't work out and it turned to something negative, it's still a positive at the end of the day, because you didn't get married to that person without that knowledge of something that you didn't like or you just couldn't stand and to be together about, so.
How do y'all feel about that?
I think I agree with Levi to an extent. Like I feel like on one side of the coin, you get to, not only are you learning things about the person you're living with, but you're learning things about yourself too.
Right.
Because you have to adjust, and both people are adjusting to living in this space. Like I even remember, like when I first got married, my husband didn't feel comfortable when he moved in with me because that wasn't a place that we got together. You know what I mean? So I was like, well, what do you mean? Like, ain't nothing wrong with me. I got this on my own. I've been living here. You ain't had no problem with it when you was coming over here. I mean, what's the problem? But I do. And then once after thinking about it, it's like, okay, I get it. But like, I feel like it, on one sense, it does help better prepare you. But on the other hand, it's like some people who do that, they get married and they don't get married, but they just end up living together, and then it's like, well, what's the point? Because we're already doing everything like a married couple, and the only difference is the piece of paper. So I would not want to be in that predicament. So while I do understand and agree to a point that it would be a good thing, even though we don't do that, but I feel like I'm not about to get trapped into just cohabitating with somebody and there's no real commitment either. So.
Do you feel that there are ways to ask questions and get that information, all the information that you need, without still living together? Like,
yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, that's what I did. I mean, because me and my husband didn't live together until after we were married. So yeah, like we spent a lot of time talking and asking those questions. Like we spent a lot of time together before we got married, and really, having those questions, and like we had this thing called open book. So it was like, okay, this is a real moment right here. So, and this is our circle, and we're going to say every real thing, and we're not holding anything against each other. So that's called, it was like, okay, look, babe, open book moment. So those were the times where we used to ask certain questions. And then, I would let him come over and we would, I would let him see like how I was living. Cause I had cats and not everybody is a fan of cats.
A lot of cats.
I had 3. But, a lot of people don't like, animals. And I wanted him to see how I was living and if that could be something that, he felt that he could be okay with. So I kind of see it from both ends.
Right.
If I could say it like that.
And another misconception would be the sex thing. You take it to the living situation, but the sex thing is big for a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
And that's one thing I hear, especially a lot of dudes. I don't hear a lot of women really harp on this issue, but a lot of dudes, they want to make sure that it's right before they commit to it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now coming from, if I didn't have those beliefs where, premarital sex, wasn't a thing, and I just went and did my own thing, then I understand that. But because I don't believe in that type of lifestyle, that's a real issue, honestly.
Right.
I would have to, make sure that my future husband is, of course, on board with, not living together beforehand, none of the premarital sex stuff. And that, like Rissa was saying, you just be open with that person and say, hey, look, this is what my body does. Let me know what your body does. We can't test it out, but we can talk about it. You
right.
know what I'm saying?
Do you feel like people are willing to do that though? I don't think.
I would hope. I mean, I can only speak for myself. I am an open book. I can honestly say that. I think it's good to be open, especially if you're going down that path, down that road of being committed to that person. You've spent a lot of time. You're like, okay, I really feel in my heart that this is the one. Yes, I'm gonna be open with him and say,
right.
Hey, these are some of the issues that I battle. Sexually, physically, whatever. I'm gonna be open with him because I don't want him nor I to come into it blindsided.
Correct.
I want whatever they can know up front. I want them to know. Now, of course, we haven't had sex together, so we won't know what that's like. But the things that they can know, that I know about myself, hey, I'm gonna share it with you. I'm gonna let you know.
Absolutely.
I do feel like you have to get to a place, especially, I mean, if you're getting to that place where you're really getting serious with each other and you're really thinking about going to the place of, I mean, honestly, for us, I would feel like, for me and Tamara at least, I would feel like if we're out there dating or whatever, once we get to a certain place where we feel like that person is the one we're going to marry, we would probably be willing to share that information with that person, share certain, dislikes, likes, maybe some feelings of inadequacies, maybe some feelings of,
right. Mm-hmm.
Traits, whatever.
Sure.
But I feel like you have to be comfortable enough with that person and yourself to be able to do that and be real. But some people, I think it scares some people to be that real because you might scare off your significant other who has, I mean, if you haven't. So I would suggest make sure that where your relationship is first before you have these conversations, I guess. But
but I think that also goes. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead, Marissa.
I think that also goes to the other misconception is being Christian or being saved and dating. There's a huge, because I remember before my husband came into the picture, I always heard, we don't date, we don't do this, we don't, I'm like, well, how do you get to the marriage point if you're not dating? I don't see that in between. And I wasn't raised in church, so I've had boyfriends and have had sex and all these other things prior to me getting saved. So I'm like, well, what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to meet and just stay in church gatherings and stuff until we get married? I really had no clue. I remember even talking to Tim. I'm like, Tim, I don't know how am I supposed to navigate this? So I know that I'm being first of all, remaining safe and not crossing any lines, but at the same time, trying to get to know this person who I know has feelings for me and vice versa.
Right.
I never understood that. And I think because and I never knew how to navigate it until I actually was going through it.
Right.
Because I hadn't known anybody who had done that in that way. Because, my husband was not in church either. He got saved after meeting me. So I didn't know how to navigate. I mean, man, me and Tamara many a nights just talking and shit about how we navigate these things, with her ex and then my husband. I mean, we was just there, talking to God. I'm like, you hear us, right? We want to make sure that we really want to make sure that we're doing it the right way. So, it's hard, and you're constantly being fed one way, and over the pulpit. So it was very hard to navigate. And I think with that, it also is hard for you to navigate what conversations can and can't be had when you finally cross that threshold to getting to know that person. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, I want to go back to what you were talking about with the pulpit thing. So of course, a lot of people grow up in church and they hear it one way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing that preachers typically put out is for everyone across the board. So
Correct.
It's going to sound harsh. It's going to be tight. You know what I mean? And I understand why they do it that way. Like, I totally get it.
Absolutely.
But then it comes down to your personal relationship with God and you knowing what you can't do and what you can do. So what might be okay for me won't be okay for Levi or Marissa or Terrence.
Right.
Or vice versa. You know what I mean? So I think too, like, that's one thing that I had, and it took me a while to get to this point.
Yeah.
But that's one thing that I had to get down. Like, I had to mature in my own self with God, not myself, church, and God. You understand what I'm saying? It had to be me having that own personal relationship with God so that I can navigate my life. In my singleness, it was a lot of things that I thought I couldn't do. And I'm like, this is not right. This is totally not right.
Like, name one thing you were talking about that you said there are certain things you feel like you couldn't do.
That I felt like I couldn't do. Like, like go out on a date with a person that's not saved. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's utterly ridiculous. Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, how? First of all, how are we supposed to be effective if we're not a part of a person's life who's not saved? Like, how does that work? So that's one of the things, because all of the guys that I was, had a relationship with, or that I was like talking to, they were all in church. So, I was like, I don't know, this don't feel right. I don't know what, it just didn't feel right. So I was like, this is it's asinine. You know what I mean? So I was like, God, help me. If someone comes my way and they're not that, that churchy type, or they might not understand like how to live a saved life or whatever, that's fine. Just as long as they respect my boundaries, we can go out and have a good time and become friends. And if it becomes more than that, then it becomes more than that, and we'll navigate through that. But of course, you don't marry unequally yoked. That.
Right.
The thing is, you can push somebody to that point. You know what I'm saying? Or not push, but show them the way. Right. And if they choose to come, they choose to come. If they don't, they don't. But I'm not going to miss an opportunity just because they're not saved. Like, that's stupid.
Right. And then, and even in that, like, even if it doesn't work, you at least planted that seed and showed somebody what salvation truly looks like. Yeah. So even through the dating and having fun, you were still being a witness to this person, because guaranteed they're not going to forget this experience, because it's different than anything they've ever experienced.
Right.
And that's what my husband told me, so that seed is still planted, whether or not y'all work or not. So
especially that situation, like you were saying, you being somebody who is saved, and a lot of people who will say that they're saved or they're Christian. And I'm not knocking anybody's Christianity or whatever, but a lot of people who aren't saved, when they see certain things, like someone saying they are saved and then sticking to not having premarital sex, or sticking to, some of the basic concepts of, being saved, then that might have an influence on that person. They might not want to be with you after that. Some people don't want to deal with them, but you still held up what you were supposed to do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, my ex, that's happened to me.
Some people will respect that, but I mean, some people won't. But the one who's for you will respect that.
Exactly.
But I'm not gonna shut that. Like, say, because he know I'm not gonna give it up. He just wants to end what we were working towards and just be friends. Like, that's cool. It's fine. Like you said, if he's not for you or if she's not for you, it's just not meant to be.
Right.
But I'm not going to just shut myself totally off of the ones who are not churchy. Right.
And to your point too, Tamara, going back to what they were saying about, there has to be a standard that comes over the pulpit, and then the rest you grow from. I will say that I'm grateful for that period, because I could not date if I was not mature enough if I was not spiritually mature enough to handle it. Right. So that's a really good point, because okay, I'm grateful for that, even though it confused me going through it. I'm grateful for it because that's what helped to keep me in line. Because as somebody who has experienced sex and dating before getting saved, that was the thing that helped me get straight. So, and it prepared me for when I was ready to, God released me to be able to date, and I was mature enough to handle it. I did it the right way.
Yeah.
So I wanted to come back and make sure I said it, because I'm yes, it confused me, but it was needed because I needed to mature first.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Same here.
I wanted to address another misconception, and it says here, talking to friends or family about your relationship is important. I'm getting this off of marriage.com's website. How do you guys feel about that? About getting your family and friends involved in your relationship? I would say when even from beginning to end, how deep do you let your family or your friends get into or get involved in your relationship, especially when it comes to serious things? How do y'all feel about those things?
Yeah, Levi.
It's cool to an extent. It depends on the situation, because of course, as let's say for my wife, for instance, right, she had a really good home, great parents or whatever. She may want to talk to her mother and get some advice about a situation, right? Same thing with me. I may want to talk to my fathers and get some information from them. And see what I can garner from them, right? But you have to know when to turn that on and turn it off. I'm a big proponent that your business is your business. And sometimes certain things you cannot talk to your parents and your family about, because you have to protect your home. At the end of the day, especially when you're mad, and I've been there, we've all been there, right? You get mad at your significant other, you go and talk to your friends, you might go talk to your family. Next thing you know, their mind is skewed about the person. You feel better, you forgave the person, but they haven't.
But they still mad.
Absolutely.
They still remember they called you A, B, C, and D.
Absolutely.
So the situation is now the relationship with your family or your friends towards your significant other is now skewed. You know what I mean? So you have to be really, really careful. If that's what you're going to do, you're going to talk to them, like I talk to these guys about my marriage all the time, and some of the things that my wife goes through, is sometimes I need that person to talk to, or I might talk to one of my boys or whatever. And I know she does the same thing. Good. It's healthy. But at certain points, I give them some information, but I don't give them all my information.
Right.
Some things are just for me and my wife to work out, and maybe we're not handling it in the best way, but it's still for us just to work out, and it's not for anybody else.
That's right. I think this also. I'm sorry, Terrence.
No, I feel like with that situation, you really should be careful about. You can definitely go and get the help, and go and get and say whatever you need to say, but you got to definitely be careful about how you say it and the words that you choose, because they definitely will, like you said, skew a person's view about your significant other, and you don't want that, because I've had situations where people have told me certain things, and I start like, well, I can't believe this happened, you get like that.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden you see this person back with their significant other, and you're like, wait, you like, what happened, and in your mind, you still thinking, I can't believe this person did this, and then you went back to that person, blah 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 blah, and in your mind, you want the best for the person who's closest to you, because most of the time, I won't say most of the time, but there are times where whenever this happens, whenever I have felt that way, it's usually I don't know the other party. I know the party who is giving me the information more so than I.
Correct, which is one-sided.
Right.
Yep.
So, and it's not fair to the other person. It's really not fair to the other person, because all you hear is that, like you said, Rissa, that one side, and it could be that they could be skewing it right to you. So I mean, it's really
because they're coming for comfort,
right?
If they're talking to
exactly.
You, so.
But go ahead, Rissa. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I think it's important about who you decide to share it with. Like,
definitely,
I know there's certain people in my family that I could like talk to, because they're either, married like I am or have been married, but someone who is not going to take sides because they know me. You know what I'm saying? I need somebody important. Who I know is going to tell me about myself if I'm wrong.
Absolutely.
That's important.
Right. Like, I think it's like I agree with everything that Levi said 100%, but it's important that you choose someone that who's going to give it to you straight, whether you are right or wrong. Like somebody who is actually mature enough to listen and be like, okay, well, it ain't always him. Like, what are you doing? So you can check yourself as well. So, somebody who's going to be willing to put you in the hot seat. So, because it's always two sides to every story.
Absolutely.
And like you said, I'm going to placate it because I'm going to go to the people, you supposed to have my side and you ain't going to be siding with him because I'm upset. No.
Dude, you saying two sides.
Right. It has
you said
to
two sides. There's three sides to every story. It's the one person's side, the other person's side, and then the truth.
Yeah, there you go. Right. That's true. Right. So you have to be careful about who you choose to talk to. Like there are friends that I have that I would not talk to about certain things. And I have friends that I, would talk to about it. Same with family. So, you really have to be mindful, because especially if they are in a place to be able or should not be giving you advice.
Definitely. So. Well, I wanted to ask too, now that we talked about those misconceptions, when it comes to getting into more involvement with your significant other and,
like sex?
Yes, the intercourse and the sex with.
Why are you saying more involvement?
Right. I know.
Huh?
No. I'm trying. Can I get to my question?
Go ahead.
How important is sexual intercourse in your relationship? How important is it for you? Go ahead,
Tamara.
Okay. Well, y'all, I am a virgin, so I've never had sexual intercourse, but I long to do it. I long to do it almost every day. Okay.
That's right.
And going based off of of course, me wanting a marriage and things of that nature. I really believe sex is what separates a marriage from a friendship. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Right. So yes. I can have the same, honestly, I can have the same type of vibes with a friend that I do with my husband, but what makes that man my husband is that the intimacy that we share. Okay. That's right. So I always looked at it like that. My husband is the one that's going to feel my most deepest connection that we have together. And that is sex. I mean, it's not just sex, but most of it is sex. So the intimacy part is what gets it for me. So yes, sex is very crucial in a relationship. Very crucial. I feel like it's very needed, and that each relationship should have a healthy intimacy sexual type involvement. It should definitely
Right.
have that. And I understand that, and I think we're going to get into this a little later, but the frequency of how often you have sex, that's a big part too. But just to make sure, like, that connection is there, man, that's everything in a relationship.
Yeah.
Correct.
And sex is very important.
Yeah.
Very important.
You gotta have that chemistry, I feel.
Yeah.
There's no, to me, there's no way that you can really I mean, I know marriages go through, I haven't been married, of course, but I know marriages do go through dry spells and whatever, and you lose that spark sometimes. But for the most part, you have to continually fight for it, I feel like. And
you do. No, you do.
and so, I mean, you had to do certain things. I mean, you've seen enough TV shows or heard enough people say, friends say this or that to know that, you have to continually work on your marriage all the time. So hopefully once I get married, I'll be able to put that into practice. But how do you feel about it, Rissa?
I agree 100% with Tamara. It is very important. And it is something that I need on a fairly consistent basis.
How consistent?
Like, I'm good with like 2 to 3 times a week. And I say that because, I mean, we got 2 young babies. So, so I have a 3-year-old and I got a 10-month-old. We both have full-time jobs, amongst other things that we have to do. And it's a lot. My children are blockers. So it's kind of like, get it where you fit in. You got to get it how you live over here, because it's becoming more challenging to make sure that we do that.
Yeah.
But it's important. It's 100%. I mean, I was not a virgin when I got married, but I was celibate for 8 years prior to getting married. So I'm still making up for that time that I gave to the Lord. So,
you're still making up for 8 years.
Yeah, I am redeeming the time.
what Maxine wanted to say? Reclaiming
my time.
Oh man, that's funny.
Serious.
How about you, Levi? How important is it to you?
It's everything. Nah, sex is good, man. Sex is great, especially when it's with the right person.
Yes.
It's important, man. That's the answer. It's important. It's important to my marriage. Of course, you and your wife, sometimes you may go through your little dry spells. Like full transparency, I did, with my wife. Her body changed a little bit after we had kids. It's something that's normal or whatever, but you learn how to work through it with your wife. Communication. You're gonna have your frustrated moments, but if you can get it consistently, like Martha said, 2 to 3 times a week. Or 1 to 2 if you can, like I got 2 kids now. I got a young baby. You try to get it when you can.
Get it how you live,
hey, you might look at each other and be like, hey,
like you sleep. They sleeping. Let's go.
Back. Yo, they sleep. Come on. Just 5 minutes. It don't matter. Just touch it a little bit. Just right here. Tap it in. Tap it in. Give it a little tap.
Be quiet for the baby. Don't wake the baby.
Don't wake up. Be quiet, girl. You're making too much noise. You're gonna wake up. It's important, man. And like you guys said, that's a separator from being, having a friendship. And honestly, that's the most intimate moment of your relationship, your marriage. Is your intercourse. Is you would never connect to each other like that.
Right.
I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
So you would never connect to each other like that in any other way in your relationship. Or
yeah. That intimacy is definitely necessary, I feel. And I mean, it makes you vulnerable to each other. That's your most intimate time with each other.
Exactly.
And you can share, even in that, you share so much with each other. You share everything, really. I mean, that's your whole, you even what the pastor would say. Sometimes you get that soul meshing and all that stuff. That soul tie with that one
The
person.
soul tie.
Heavenly
Yeah.
angels in your room. Oh,
They're clapping.
they're flapping. They're
angels.
clapping. Go on, son.
Because it's
Yes,
holy.
son. Just like that, son.
Yes.
Because it's holy. Yes.
Oh
It's
my
right. Right. All
Lord
right.
have mercy.
No, I mean he would say it was. I mean he would applaud it. You know.
Yeah.
It's a great thing. I think. Hopefully, you know, one day I'll get to experience that again. But do you guys feel that the marriage bed is undefiled, and how far is too far?
I'll go last.
Woo.
Go ahead.
We
Go ahead.
like too far. Like you know, at this point in time, we like trying. Okay, wait. Like you might want to bring someone else in as well. Like you talking about like three. All right, see, that's what I answer this question.
Don't get in trouble.
I mean, it just depends. Like, I will go back to like we were talking earlier about some things you hear in church or whatever. I think this is another important thing where you know your relationship with God versus church legalism.
Yes.
And the two are not this. You know, they don't go hand in hand. So you know, a lot of times I will give our example in our ministry. We hear missionary. You know, oral sex may not be right and things of that nature, which
Is a lie.
You're talking about
not right.
You're talking about oral sex in the marriage.
Okay.
You're talking about oral sex in the marriage bed, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what did you say? Levi? Go back. What you
If
say?
it's not right, then I'm going to hell.
I'm right there with you, buddy. Because yeah.
But I, you know, you have to do what works for your marriage. You know, what your pastor does for his marriage. Okay, cool. It works for him. But I believe that your bed is not defiled as long as it's between you and your significant other. You know, of course, you guys may find things that to spice things up. I know me and my wife do, you know, or whatever, to try to keep things fresh or whatever. And you know, you're good. I think when it goes outside of you two, I think that's, to me, just my opinion, I think that's a little too far for a Christian lifestyle. I would say.
Yes, I agree.
So would you say that like 50 Shades of Grey type stuff?
Oh yeah, that's all.
Stuff?
Like I said, all is fair game if it's between you and your spouse.
I actually am surprised to hear you say that, to be honest.
Why?
I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I'm just surprised that you say that. I'm just.
Yeah, all that stuff is great. Tie her up, cops and robbers.
Nurse and doctor.
Pin me down. My hands up. Don't shoot. Okay.
Oh no! Don't take it there.
Oh my God.
But yeah, that's my opinion on it.
What you think, Rissa?
No, I agree. With everything that my brother has said. I think as long as you and your husband are, you know, keeping it between you two and the Lord, I feel as though it's free game. Like, I would not bring anyone else or anything like that into my bed. No, I'm definitely not doing that. But I feel like, because, you know, we're married, right? And you go through all these changes and you need a healthy arsenal of things to make sure that you keep things spicy. Because like you said earlier, Terrence, your chemistry is something that you have to work on to maintain it, because life happens. So you want to always be in a position to want your spouse like that. You know what I'm saying? So, and to respond to your spouse in the way that you normally are used to. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like as long as it's between you and your husband and God, and y'all are checking when you are getting, if y'all do get convictions for whatever reason, that you mind them and take heed. But I do believe, like, yeah, it's free game. I'm married, so, and the word says between man and wife, period.
Yeah, I feel like as long as the two are making a conscious decision to be, with each other, coming forward. I don't know. Do you guys discuss those things? I'm asking because I'm not married and never been married, but like, do you make plans for those things, or you try to be spontaneous a lot of times? And then sometimes, have you ever felt like it might? Well, you guys say no, you haven't felt like you've gone too far. So, do you ever felt? Is everything okay as far as?
Lord Jesus.
I know I have a lot of questions.
Get
I'm
the
trying to get it all
question
out
already.
I'm trying to ask so many questions at once. So do you do a lot of spontaneous stuff?
Yeah, I hate planned sex. I
Yeah,
want it to be spontaneous as possible. I want it to be as natural as possible. Like,
you hate planned sex?
I cannot stand planned sex. I want it to be spontaneous. I want you to be standing at the kitchen and maybe I just rub you the right way and we going at it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't like planned sex at all. I like it to be like, okay, this just happened type of deal.
Yeah, I agree. Now, sometimes, because like I said, we got 2 young kids, so sometimes it's like, I like, okay, like we both, it's already like we do talk about, not that we don't plan it, because we don't. Like, there's been many a times where I got like the yank of the leg or the tap of the shoulder in the middle of the night, but like there's like a
the yank of the leg.
Yeah, because he always grows from my leg. I don't know, but like
yams, going for them yams, baby.
My boy, yes sir.
So because we have kids, it's always like, okay, when they sleeping, it is game on. So not so much like planned, but like we know when the most opportune times are. Right. But for the most part, it is definitely very natural. So yeah, like this time he's woken me up. I'm like, Lord, damn, I'm just tired. But all right, let's go. But I feel like, that dude, I'm tired, man. But yeah, like it's happened many a time. You get the tap, or in my case, sometimes it's a tap, and sometimes it's definitely a leg yank. But yeah,
I'm done with the leg yank.
So I would say, I think for a lot of men, sometimes the reason why I like it to be spontaneous is kind of like the hunter type of thing. Like,
right.
I'm going after you and I'm gonna get it. You know what I mean? Something like that. So that is also involved with the spontaneousness as well.
Yeah. How you feel about that, Tim?
Well, one thing I want to say is that, Christians aren't boring. You know what I mean?
Right.
Terrence, what was your original question before the spontaneous stuff? What was your original question?
Was is the marriage been undefiled?
Yeah.
There you go. Yes. Yeah. So, going back to that, like, just because you're a Christian don't mean you're dead, don't mean you're boring. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish people would stop having that type of mindset. That's why people don't like to go that route with God, because they feel like they're limited. Mm-hmm. When you save, you have liberty. You know what I'm saying? So listen, I've never had sex, but listen.
Tell them, best friend, tell them.
There's things, you know what I'm saying, that I do believe that you can go too far with. Of course, bringing another person in your bed, stuff like that. Like, you just know this is gonna end up messy. Like, just don't.
Correct.
But like, man, have your sex. It's fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, God made that. He knew what he was doing.
Exactly.
He created that. Like, have fun with it. You know what I'm saying? If you want to bring, and some people don't agree, and that's cool. Like, that's fine. Like what Levi and Marissa were saying, if your spirits don't vibe with that, then don't do it. But do what works for you. I'm just saying, like, it doesn't have to be straight up missionary, one position, one time a day, or one time a week, or whatever. Like have fun with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, I wish that whole theory of you're a Christian and you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that. I wish that would go out the window.
Yeah.
Because that's not about, you know what I'm saying? Like, have fun in your sexuality. I feel like my mother raised me to be very open in my sexuality. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, Jesus, for her.
You said what?
Thank you, Jesus, for her.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean we're talking about liberation. It doesn't mean that you just go out and do this one and do that one. That's not what that means. That just means that you're free and you're comfortable. You feel confident in what you're doing. You know what I mean? So like, have liberty when it comes to sex with your spouse, and whatever God condones y'all to do it to the utmost. So that's how I feel. That's how
I mean, it's true. I agree. Like if you're following God's word and you're not doing it, don't tell me that certain things, like, of course, there's like the standard of things that we're not going to do. I got it. But don't tell me then I'm even limited in that when I know that, you know, we waited, we did it God's way and and you still putting red tape on me?
Right.
No.
Like not to have oral sex. What? Who made it a sin? Who said that was a sin?
Yeah, look, I refuse to trade, one slavery for another slavery. I'm done with that.
Thank
you know
you.
what I mean? Like I was already bound when I was unsaved. I'm not going to then be saved and then be bound again. Like, of course I'm in my parameters of being a Christian, and all that good jazz. I follow it to the T. I believe what the word says. I'm doing what the word says. But God has not called us to be bound. And that's just that's the end of it.
That's right.
People, if you're listening to this and you're thinking about a Christian lifestyle, or maybe you are a Christian right now, know God for yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because
that's right.
Of course you have your leader, you obey your leader, and everything is good, but the word for yourself. So that way, when certain things are said, especially like my sister Tam said, with a broad brush, just in case there's something in a room, that, hey, okay, somebody else may be dealing with this, but hey, I know what it is for myself and my family. In my Christian
life. And like she said, be confident in it. Like as long as God has given you the green light, have fun. If y'all are married and you're teetering on the line about oral, after you go to God about it, if you like, go for it.
Right. Okay? And if y'all don't like it, then if you don't like it, don't feel good, then stop it.
Yeah. Right. And then at least you are talking to other couples. What works for one couple may not work for you, and what works for you may not work for somebody else. Have fun in your marriage. As long as it's godly and God is centered, have fun.
So what would you say to the
not
person?
Even just with sex, but just with your marriage. Have fun. This is your life partner.
Yeah.
What would you say to the partners who are together, who one is looking for that thing to be extra spiced up, but the other one isn't? What would you say to that person? What would you do to try to get that person some satisfaction? The one who's not getting,
the Lord be with you. And I'm afraid.
I think one thing I'll say, because I've been there, before. So I would say communication is definitely going to be key there. Don't walk around the house with a mad face and thinking that the other person is psychic, just knows what's going on. Because the other person, they may be going through, like for my instance, the person may be going through in their body or something is off or whatever, and it just might be the furthest thing from their mind at that point in time because other things are going on. But have an open conversation. Hey, I'm struggling. At the end of the day, especially in a Christian marriage, so you don't want your partner to be struggling and then open up the door for other things that they may be looking outside the marriage. They may go do some crazy mess because they're struggling at the home. You have to help each other, help your spouse, whether, hey, some days I don't feel it, she may be feeling it. Some days that, she may not be feeling it, I'm feeling it, but at the end of the day, we help each other, and that's what you want.
Right.
And for the instance, for like the one who is seeking and the other isn't, and there's nothing going wrong, they just don't feel like they don't want to do that. I think again, a conversation needs to be had between them so they can kind of come to a middle ground, or at least at the very root, figure out why they believe that and go from there. So that way the other person who is looking for it can kind of get a better understanding than, no, I don't do it. You're still satisfied in other ways. But if they're interested in this way, a conversation needs to be had about it. So, go ask the deeper questions and have a serious conversation about it, and then go from there.
Do you guys feel like there's a problem with marriages that may not be having sex? Do you automatically assume that there's something wrong with their marriage?
Because they're not having sex?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't automatically say that. No, I
I,
would say if they're not having sex, that either one is. It depends on why y'all laughing.
no, go
Yeah, go
ahead.
ahead, Terrence.
It
Go ahead.
depends on a lot of different factors for me. I feel like there's a lot of different factors of that because there could be some inadequacies that person's feeling, or they could like just feel yucky or whatever. Um, it could be a lot of different things. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's something wrong with their marriage. But I do think they need to, like you said, communicate with their significant other if they're not, or if they're both at that point where they just don't want to do that, then I'm like, I might say then what's going on then, but it's a lot of different factors.
That is true. Yeah.
Do y'all feel that way?
Yeah,
I
at
think-
first I'll be like, yeah. And then after really thinking, okay, well, maybe there's other things, that contribute to the reason why behind it. But if they're at a point where they're at a complete standstill plateau and nothing's been going, and I think it kind of depends on the length of on how long it's been that way. Because it's a vital part of a marriage. So something, even if it's not sex may be, a secondary factor to the primary reason that something is wrong. So, maybe, get to the root and go, that couple needs to get to the root of it, basically.
Were you about you just agreed to him, or you didn't have anything else to say?
No, I was gonna say that I feel as though if you had a healthy sex life and then it just stopped, it could be something physical, some health issues going on. But if you don't communicate about it, then that's when it becomes that problem. That's when it becomes an issue.
Right.
That's why, be real with your spouses, you know what I'm saying? So that other person knows what's going on. And then that way the devil won't play with their mind, and then they get caught up and they mess up with somebody else because you haven't communicated, okay, I can't get up, or I'm not getting erection, or I'm just not wet enough, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You need to have an open dialogue and be like, look, I don't know what's going on, but this is what's happening and I'm not feeling it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What about a couple who doesn't, on both sides, they don't have that communication thing down pat? What should they do? Or one person is, what should the couple who doesn't have the communication, what should they do? I keep asking two questions at once.
At some point, they're going to have to talk.
Yeah.
That's the only way it's going to get done. And I also think, especially as women, because we go through a lot, I think it's also important, if our libido changes to the point where it decreases, I think it's very important that us as women need to affirm with our man that, baby, it's not you, something is going on. I think affirmations are very important because, usually people think, oh, well, she's not this, if she's not wet enough, she's not responding to me, does she want me, does is there something going wrong? Because you automatically think, it's relative to you, when in actuality it probably has nothing to do with you.
Right.
100%.
So
100%.
affirmations and affirming that your partner is no, baby, I got you, but this is what's really the problem. And
right.
And going forward from there. But for the couple who can't talk, there is no way around it. You have to have a conversation.
Yeah.
You have to, and then you have to be open to receive what that person has to say. And that's the hardest part.
That's the hard part.
You have got to be objective, because if you can't always be subjective, because a person has to feel like they have to be honest with you without you automatically responding in an emotional way and taking offense. Now, it's going to be hard to do. Absolutely. I've been there. But you have to be mature enough to go beyond how you feel so that person can feel safe speaking to you.
Absolutely. So. I feel like sometimes in relationships people aren't willing to hear the dissenting part, or the what their significant other has a problem with, and that could be an issue. You have to be able to be open to the fact that if your significant other is bringing a a valid issue that is bothering them to you. You can't just dismiss it. It depends. For the most part, especially if this person, this person doesn't do this, or this person doesn't just come with no, random, crap to you. You need to really just open your mind and listen and hear this person and receive what they have to say, because it's important. I feel like, to be able to have that communication. I feel like some people just don't have that. So I don't know. We'll see.
Can I say something?
Go ahead, Tamara.
I just want because we're talking about sex or whatever. So I know some people have gone through with being intimate with their spouses, like they had issues orgasming or whatever. Because we do live that type of life where we don't have sex before we get married, you don't know how your connection is with your partner sexually until afterwards, until you're locked in. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like, I guess for Levi and Marissa, if that's ever happened, how do you deal with that? And then like for me and Terrence, I can say for myself, because I know what an orgasm feels like, if like, say for whatever reason, when I do get married and I have sex and that doesn't happen, like I often think about like, how am I going to respond to that? Or, how will he take that? That's why going back to that communication thing, that has to be like tight. You got to be on lock.
Right. It does. Yeah.
I want to be satisfied, and I'm sure he will be satisfied. So there's going to be certain things that he's going to want me to do. And there's going to be certain things that I'm going to need him to do in order to fulfill that, the whole totality fulfillment of being pleasured. So, I'm just saying that, I think about that type of stuff because, of course, I'm not going to have sex beforehand, but like, you wonder about that stuff. Like, is he going to give me an orgasm, or is it just going to be
absolutely?
That's real. That's just real.
Yeah, it's real. Like some stroke.
And not only is it real, statistical facts, because it is a known fact that I think it was like 80% of women don't have orgasms just off of straight intercourse.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, man, you and I used to talk about this all the time, Tam, on them long car rides home. Like, what happens if that is me? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, because in full disclosure, that used to be me. So and I would have a conversation and I was like, I knew that it had nothing to do with him. Like, I didn't take the time, I feel, to really, explore, like, even because I was having sex before I got married, when I wasn't saved. So being young and not educated enough in my sexuality, I didn't take the time to figure out what works because I was introduced to the world, So I was just like, look, that got to be it, because I'm going to get mine too. And that's it. But I didn't take the time to really investigate that with someone else until I got with my husband.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. True. That's real life.
Yeah, it is. And now I'm not in the 80%.
How do you feel on that topic, Levi?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Hold on. Wait. Just to answer your question, it's been 1 hour and 21 minutes. But go ahead.
I sent out a message just to see how long we have been on this call. Just
leave it to Tam to call you out.
Because I can't text. I was going to text him back, but I can't do it because I'm on
Tamara's the only one. If you look at her screen, you see how everyone else's screen is full. Hers is just the one that's not enough. God, but I'm just gonna say I agree with Marissa. I can't even really remember what we started about now.
I'm sorry, Boo. Sorry.
But I think those conversations are just needed. You just have to try to find ways forward. I know for myself, like we had to do that as well. And it's hard as a man. Sometimes it's hard to have those conversations. Like you got to suck it up because you might not be everything, or if for a female may be the same way. You may not be everything right, or your partner's not getting fulfilled or something like that. So you have to find other ways forward. You have to one thing I will say, like I had sex before marriage as well. I really had to take the time and get to know my wife. You know what I mean? Even when we were married, like we were in the game already. Like I really had to take time to really get to know her, what she wanted, what did I needed to do. Because the men, I mean, just men, straight up, we gonna get ours. You know what I mean?
Basically, right? Right.
The facts are we're gonna get ours. It's usually the women component where it becomes a little bit more difficult making sure they get theirs. So you have to, find some other things, whether, that tongue game, that twisted tornado's got to be good. You know what I mean? And,
Oh, Karen.
You did not have to put me on blast, Tamara. You did not have to put me on blast.
And you need to be looking like a lizard.
I was talking to Tamara about it. We were having it. So that's going to go into my next part. It's like having some inadequacies that you have to deal with. Yeah. And one is that my tongue does not go any further than that on my mouth. That's as far as my tongue can go. So yeah, when
I don't ever want to hear you joke about my small ears ever again. After seeing this,
I've never joked about your ears.
No, you haven't, but Tamara has.
But
that is so crazy.
When it comes down to
that was Tamara again putting people out. Just
putting people out. When it comes down to handling that part, it's a little bit difficult it's a little bit difficult. So
it's okay. You just got to go full force in there. That's all. It can't be.
Tamara tell me I need to just spread them and. That's what she's saying. That's it. All teeth and all. That's what she's saying. Jiminy Cricket.
Oh my God, that was amazing.
It can be a cheese.
But I mean, is there any inadequacies that well, it's not really an inadequacy, but anything that you guys felt inadequate about when it comes?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Even with me not doing it, yes, I have a lot of concerns.
Like I know, like when I like your body, it's just things like especially when me and my wife, started whatever, you're both negging in front of each other. You know what I mean? You think of so many things of what they're thinking about.
Yes, especially I'm sorry, but especially when you were a big girl. Okay.
Yes.
Look, Nicole. Look.
Yep.
You're gonna have to love all this because you're married to it now. So, but like, there's definitely inadequacies that I even still have sexually that I plan to, of course, fix. But like,
yeah.
I mean, like, go ahead, Tamara, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, I completely agree with Rissa on that aspect of like being on the bigger side. A lot of men are, oh my gosh,
visual.
Yes, there you go. Thank you, because I was going to say something else. Men are very visual. So, being on the bigger side, you be like, dang, I hope that they like this. I hope that they're okay with this. There's a lot that goes on in a woman's mind, a whole lot.
Yeah, boy, you going to love this fupa because
you don't have to it. So, and then too, with me not ever having sex, that's one of the things that I'm sort of concerned about. Like, okay, some men like virgins and some men want experienced women. You know what I mean? Right. I can say definitely. Like with the relationship I was just in, he was all for, being a teacher. Like that turned him on. You know what I'm saying? He was all for it. Like he was
that
like,
doesn't surprise us.
Not at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, he was all for
training lesson number 1, baby.
Exactly. So he liked that aspect of I can show you, I can, I can help you through this, or teach you this, or whatever. But there's a lot of men who don't like that. They want you to know what you're doing, want you to work it well. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's a lot of concerns that that's why more than anything, like, you got to know you love that person, and that person has to love you back equally.
Right.
Because it's always,
Right.
no one is perfect. It's always going to be something that is not right, something that needs to be fine-tuned, and it's always going to be something. So the love is what's going to keep y'all going forward. But man, yes, a whole
And
bunch
that
of
communication.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And because I feel like most men, not most men, I feel like, because a lot of men are visual. I feel like most men will tell you if they have an issue with it,
Oh God, yeah.
as long as you're open and you're in that part of your relationship. Now, if y'all just met and y'all talk,
And you're saying it in a good way for it to be well received.
Amen.
Because we women think about that stuff all the time. So.
Right. I mean, if a man is if he in there with you and y'all been going for a while, I mean, that's most likely not going to be an issue for him. Most likely, if he hadn't left yet, if after a week or 2 weeks, whatever, he ain't hit and he's still in it with you after months or whatever, that's not an issue for him. So, I mean, for the most part, y'all can kind of like cast that to the side. But I can understand why it would be an issue for a woman. But for the most part, if a man if it ain't bothered him after 2 months, he pretty much in it. So, but I feel like as long as you communicate why it might be an issue for the woman, as long as she communicates why it might be an issue for him, and most men are going to be understanding. Let's see some cad or some some unthinking.
Oh, a cad.
I know, I couldn't think of a.
Really?
Can we come back to 2020, please?
Really?
Okay.
Right,
This is what we deal with, guys.
I mean, a cad? Really?
You can't say nothing with the word you said.
Whatever. A cad.
Oh my God! But
He got the sweets for you.
Yes.
I was like, what?
God, whatever. Y'all ain't gonna team up on me today.
But yeah, as long as I feel like as long as the guy he's in there after after a certain amount of time, you don't have to really worry about that. That's not the issue for him.
No, I think you do.
You think so? What do you feel like?
I think there is there's what's the thing they tell you? The thing that attracted y'all to each other, you got to maintain it. So even after, it's not. No, I'm not gonna say it's like something that you have all the time, but it's definitely something you want to be mindful of. I'll say it like that.
As far as,
because you don't want to let yourself go. You know what I mean?
Oh no, that's different. Like if she was thinner early on, then I can kind of understand that. But if you guys met and it was where it was when you guys met, then that's something else. You know what I'm saying? I feel like
I got you.
He's in there already understanding that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
some still want you to tighten that up.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah. It's not always like that. It's not always like that.
It depends on the type of male or female that you're dating. It depends on how they are.
Yeah. It's true. Like for me, well, I mean, it's kind of pretty much the same, to be honest. But I've had 2 babies, so I've definitely gained more weight from the time that we have gotten married. But I mean, I was still, a bigger girl. So, but that's one thing I will thank him for, because he was straight off the top. And I even remember my mother-in-law telling him, you always got to have a girl with all this stuff on her. You don't want no skinny girl like your mama. But he's always liked bigger girls though, and that was the thing he's always told me, even when we were dating. So
that's what I meant. I feel like if he went there knowing that, I feel like
because I ask him yo, you good, or is there something I need to work on, stuff like that.
I make sure I let my wife know every day. that she.
No.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
I
how
mean,
you do it.
that's what you need. You know, sometimes they need that reassurance, especially.
Yeah. And it's better to seek it.
Yes.
So Marissa, give us your hope for the future with your spouse. What do you see 10 years from now, 20 years from now for you guys?
I still see us happily married. I want to, make sure that we are growing up together and not apart. Still in ministry, still doing the things that we do now. 20 years, maybe 25, 30 years. I hope to live to see my grandchildren if the Lord should tarry. All that God has for us. I want. But, I definitely staying married. Like I really can't see me being with anybody else if we didn't work out. Like I don't see that.
Like, but what hope do you have for? Is it just you're gonna have grandkids and all that stuff, right? And just I guess I can that's good enough. Tamara, how do you feel?
Well, no, what else are you looking for so I can answer the question?
No, I mean that's cool. That's good. I mean that's all you can really hope for as far as your future. I wonder what do you feel, Tamara? What's some hopes that you have for your future with your significant other? What's some things that you see for yourself with him?
Getting well.
Can you answer the question?
I'm also add being debt free completely, so we can leave a legacy for our kids. Amen. In addition to other things that being debt free is going to allow us to do, God when it comes to certain things with God, but being debt free completely.
Are you finished?
Well, I mean, you never got started, so.
Well, first, making sure that who of course, who I get with, that's the one that God has for me, vice versa. And just honestly, what I see like 10, 20 years, I want us to be doing what God has called us to do. Mm-hmm. And I have come to the conclusion that it's not what the American dream is. Like, you have to have this by this age, children by this age. I want whatever, because we don't know what the times are going to be like. So whatever it is that God has purpose for us, I want us to be walking into that. And I don't know what that's going to look like. I do know that I want us to have that type of connection where I can look at him and he knows exactly what I'm thinking or what I'm feeling. Just that strong connection, that God-like connection. I want us to have that. With children being in the future, of course, I want families to prosper. I want us to be well. But honestly, I can just say that I really honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I really just want us to make sure that we're doing God. Honestly,
yeah, that's right.
I don't want my life outside of that. You know what I'm saying? So whatever it is, whatever it looks like, when you doing God, that's what I want us to be doing, honestly, and just being love. That's it. Yeah. That's what I want.
How about you, Levi?
The heavy love.
That's it. That's it.
Can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, give us your hope for your future, for the future with you and your wife, and for the kids, and just where do you see yourself in 10, 20 years?
I definitely building more so like for me, an empire, a legacy. For my kids,
yes.
I'm thinking about my grandkids that I'm never going to meet ever in my life. I'll just be some old picture on the wall or something like that. Those are the things that I'm looking at. I think this pandemic has really shown me what I can leave here without having to work for somebody else. I have a lot of things that I'm working on that I believe will be in place for generations to come, generations on top of generations to come. At the end of the day, I want that to be tied to a life with Christ, right?
Yes.
At the end of the day, because, I'm Christian, that's a part of it as well. But I really want them to be good, Is everything perfect right now? No. But I believe if I continually work towards it, keep God on my side, that me and my family and the generations coming behind me will be good for a very long time.
Right.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's good, bro. I mean, I do hope for myself in some years I will be dutifully married, taking good care of my wife, my kids, having, having I'm really excited about that. That hopefully one day I'll find that one person, and we'll be able to just go forward in our future, go forward in God, and like you said, building an empire and building something that can sustain not only my immediate family, but the families and generations to come after them.
Yes.
It's really important to me. We talked about this before, to have a good standing, to build all for my family, to have someone to come for us, and then to continue. I mean, to come after us, and then just to continue to build on that and grow from that.
Right.
With how the world is moving and everything, it feels like any day now Jesus could come back. So, but I do hope that I get to have kids before that or whatever. So, and that I will be able to have grandkids and live a full life where I'm interacting with them and at least get to see them for some years.
Yes.
But
Yes.
who knows what time holds. I want
Exactly.
I want all of us to have healthy relationships, and but going back to that, who knows what time holds. We've all experienced a lot of loss, like the Tamara was talking about, the pandemic, and it's just been a lot going on this year. It's a lot that's happened in the past, and like I said, who knows what time holds. But what I hope for is to build something, a legacy that can be left behind for my family, something that they can look forward to and lean on, and look to God as they go forward in life as well. So I just want to thank you guys for joining us today.
This was
Yes.
good. This was good. Hey, leave some comments. Leave us some comments.
Yes, definitely leave a comment, like, share. Make sure you make sure you share. We want to get our names out there. We want to
subscribe
out there, and make sure you subscribe. Tell a friend about it. Tell a family member about it. Let us know what your ideas are, what your thoughts were. Let us know. We'll respond to you.
Hit that notification bell as well.
Definitely hit that. We appreciate it.
And let us know. Also, let us know if you all want us to talk about a certain thing. Give us some topics.
Yeah, please.
100%.
We're definitely open to any suggestions that you have.
Absolutely open. So we want to just thank you guys again for joining us. We love you all, and we see you next time on the weekly roundup. Take care, guys.
Catch you later, guys. Peace.